I was like, no, I don't want to go into burn out everybody else. Wait till she starts driving.
She got my 10.
You have the Circle K one?
I got a Speedway Circle K.
So you got the Circle K push up to your bank account? Well, you got that 10% off?
I got the 10.
Okay. And then you don't have to use your bank card. You just put your secret number in. But that card is attached to your bank account. Nobody can get it. And if you lose it, it's not from Circle K.
Yeah.
That's how you get the easy card. Then you can pay 10 cents off.
Oh, yeah, I need that. I don't think I have to.
Two.
Marlon, you called him the wrong name. That's why he didn't answer. I didn't see that fire.
And call this meeting to order. If you don't have the roll call, please. I wasn't quite clear with this one. Would you call the roll, please?
Archie. Baronis. Bolin.
Here.
Gadding. Johnson. Here. Brett. Williams.
Here. Could we all stand for the pledge of allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're up to the superintendent's report.
We'll start with the 2022-23 state competition award. I'm going to call you guys up by teams, and then just stand over to the side if your team is called, okay? Esports. Do we have anybody here from esports?
I'm here.
We have both brothers. Esports team placed 9th. an IHSA meet for Smash Brothers. It was Holden Hall, Trayvon Jordan, Xander McPhail, Jack Case, Elijah Myers, Alan Espinoza, and then coaches Timothy Cohn and Ryan Petruski.
Petrowski, yeah.
Petruski. Congratulations to those guys. Next, IHSA Girls Wrestling. IHSA Girls Wrestling.
Okay, ready.
We had Michaela Jones was a state qualifier, Alejandro Cornejo placed 6th in the state, and Brad Burns was the coach. IHSA powerlifting. Sorry. Oh,
Stack them.
we're at Stephen Young. IHSA powerlifting, anybody here?
Come on up here, girl.
Okay, let me go. Stephen Young was first place in 270-pound weight class. He bench pressed 335, squatted 525, and deadlifted 570. Jerica Harris, two-time state champion. Woo! First in her weight class, bench press 160, squat 325, and deadlift 315.
All right.
Guadalupe Valdez Cruz, a state champion in her weight class, bench press 146, squat 295, and deadlift 370. Samaya McIntosh, third place in her weight class. Michael Bannerman Blankson, third in his weight class. Miriam Calderon, a state qualifier. Melanie Garcia, Stephanie Mendez, Nathalie Ruiz, Aaron Flores, Justin Andrade, John Billings,
There you go.
state qualifier. Abram Ramos, Adrian McDonald, and Coach Sam Jordan.
Okay, because I see you one last time. I still got the same thing. Still got them.
IHSA 2A Girls State Track and Field Champions. First, I'm going to name Naomi Bay Watson, first place in the 400-meter dash, 4x100, 4x400-meter relay. Nevaeh Lowe, first place in the 4x100, 200, and 400-meter relay, second in the 100-meter dash. Sanaya Symington, first place in the 4x100, 4x200, and 4x400-meter relay. Anaya Lewis, two-time state champion, 4x200 and 4x400-meter relay. Trinity Noble, 4x100 and 4x200-meter relay. Demariana Tools, 4x200-meter relay. Nakaira Cooks, long jump, fourth place. And Nikel Johnson, shot put, sixth place. You want the boys to come up here too? Boys, IHSA boys track meet. Yeah. We have Jan Morrow, state qualifier for the 100, 200, 400, and 4x400-meter relay. Dominic White, state qualifier for the high jump and 4x400-meter relay. Tyrese Bender, state qualifier for the 4x400-meter relay. Clifton Martin, state qualifier for the 4x400-meter relay. And then coaches Marquise Lowe, Erica Baptist, Jocelyn Crowell, Sarah Gangster, Alfred Hollis, Jaslyn Kennedy, and Cortez Peoples. Kankakee Junior High, IESA 4A State Track and Field Meet. Keasia Wilson, 6th in the 4x100 and 15th in the 200. Josiah Hawkins, 6th in the 4x100. Shania Johnson, 6th in the 4x100. Lily James, 6th in the 4x100. Jemiah Williams, 15th in the 100-meter dash, 6th in the 4x100. Amari Anderson and Royce Cephas, both state qualifiers. Boys, Brandon Johnson, 12th in the 4x100. Philip Turner, 17th in the 400-meter dash and 12th in the 4x100. Jair Sutton, 10th in shot put, 15th in discus. Zaire Turner, 12th in the 4x100. David Andrade Centora, 12th in the 4x100. Zion Thomas, 12th in the 4x100. Kamani Billings, 9th in the 400-meter dash, 16th in the 100-meter dash, and 5th in the 4x100. Latrell Lowe Jr., 5th in the 4x100 relay. Jason Grant, 5th in the 4x100. George Noble, 5th in the 4x100. And LeBron Campbell, 5th in the 4x100. Coaches: Emmanuel Jackson, Taiwan Bender, Rich Olmsted, Corsica Campbell, Jared Randall, and Cynthia Talley. That's it. Yeah.
You weren't very good at dominoes. You weren't very good at dominoes.
We did call it.
Barnett had just made a comment, trying to get me in trouble.
Congratulations to all of you. Okay, moving on with your report.
Okay. For instruction, we are in the midst of our administrator training, and we're really focusing on accountability, making it very clear what the student practices and expectations are and the teacher practices and expectations. We're also working on really looking closely at our students with IEPs, our students with 504s, and our students that need bilingual services, and making sure that there's accountability and support for all of those services. And so at the next board meeting, I did a presentation with the staff for students with disabilities. We'll talk about the importance of compliance, quality, and accountability, which will, going forward, be the three pillars for the special education department. We'll also talk about the teacher expectations by grade band, pre-K through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 12. And then, of course, there's some high school only expectations. And we're in the process of working to come together as an administrative team and make sure that those expectations are followed through no later than Labor Day. And then there's some accountability at the very beginning of the school year in terms of what the expectations are for our adults and our students. And so we'll have more information as the summer goes on.
Okay, finance report, do we want to?
We have PMA here? Okay. Yes. Right there.
Right there is fine.
All right, so so then each of you should have a brief presentation that we prepared for you today to discuss the topic of limited bonds and financing plan related to the 2023 bonds. Now, the district is tax capped. That cap was established in 1996, and it established something called a debt service extension base. From that debt service extension base, you're restricted to how much you can pay on principal and interest of bonds. Those payments on non-referendum general obligation bonds then can go to pay-as-you-go capital projects such as working cash or life safety. The original DSEB for the district was established in 1996, and it was for the amount of bonds that were levied at the time of levy year 1996. So that would be roughly calendar year 1997. The approved amount was for $2,437,000. Public Act 96-0501 established that in 2009, the debt service extension base could grow by CPI, while the lesser of 5% or CPI, which, as you know, CPI has grown by 5% the last 2 years. The district's current DSEB, as of the upcoming 2023 levy, is $3,334,204. Now, currently, the district has 3 outstanding bond issues: the 2016 and 2017 qualified school construction bonds and the 2019 bonds. The 2019 bonds mature next year, on January 1, 2024 to be specific. The chart in front of you shows the district's debt service extension base. In the blue bars, you'll see the current obligations of the district. Beginning with levy year 2023, the debt service owed by the district decreases by roughly $200,000. Beyond that, it then cuts by 50%. So what we're proposing is a 2023 new money financing that would earn the district $7 million in proceeds and would fill the next 5 years of the debt service extension base. The current assumption assumes that the DSEB would grow at 1.5%, which, as of right now, the CPI for year over year 2023 is trending just under 4%, and we'd estimate that that would probably, it's likely that that will come in year end around 3% to be conservative. So the 1.5% estimate is conservative in our opinion. The proposed timeline or sample timeline of events for the bond issue would be to sign the order for the bond issue notification tonight, authorizing $7 million of bonds. On August 11th, the petition period for the non-referendum bonds, because non-referendum bonds are subject to a 30-day petition period, would expire, at which point the district could conduct the BINA hearing and later in August approve a parameters resolution, which what the parameters does is it authorizes the sale of the bonds and allows delegates of the board then to be assigned the responsibility of signing off on those bonds. The reason that we would propose a parameters is it allows more flexibility in terms of when the district can enter the market. The alternative is we would price on the day of a board meeting, which then could restrict the timing if you're looking at pricing on one of 2 days in a month. The goal is to ultimately pass something that authorizes the bonds to be sold and is within the goal set forth by the board. Roughly then, once the bonds are sold, they could close as early as November, allowing the district then to receive the proceeds. Any questions?
Do you have any any thoughts on what an interest rate will be in the next 3 months?
Yes, so we conservatively estimated a true interest cost, which is the interest rate of the bonds, to be 3.71%. Now, obviously, that is subject to the market, and the recent events of the market have led interest rates to rise. We are currently in a period of higher inflation. That has slowed down over the course of 2023. But as of CPI for the month of July, the year-over-year CPI did go up a little bit. And with that increasing, that could cause interest rates to continue to increase. But depending on kind of the market reaction to Fed policy, the interest rate increases have not been significant compared to the last couple of years, where inflation has been much more hot, and the Fed policy has been to increase the Fed rate much more drastically. Last month, the Fed opted to wait and see how the market reacted instead of opting for a 25 basis point increase in the Fed rate. That was generally seen as taken as a good sign that the market may be cooling down and interest rates may be leveling off. But with the CPI report, it is possible that the Fed then would look to take action in the next couple of months.
Right. And does that have a direct, is there a direct
Correlation?
correlation?
Yeah. Because the bond issue is shorter in nature, the good news is you're not paying interest over a long period of time, but that does mean that it's more subject to short-term interest rate volatility, which would be directly correlated to the Fed policy.
And assuming these get sold, this would limit our bonding ability up to and through 2007, correct? Or 2006?
It would be levy year 2027, so 2020. It would be for the next 5 years. I should add too that we added 25 basis points to the rate to be a little bit conservative.
Okay. Does any member of the board have any questions?
I'd like to add to finance.
Go ahead.
I did talk to Rob Grossi, who is going to remain as a treasurer while we have a recommendation for Assistant Superintendent of Business and Finance. He's here, and I'm sure the personnel was planning on introducing him anyway. So, but Rob Grossi will remain as a treasurer for 1 year as we transition in our new Assistant Superintendent of Business and Finance. And he's suggesting that we look at an investment plan. And I think we're looking at different terms of bonding, like 6 months, not bonding, I'm sorry, investment options. And so hopefully at the next board meeting, Mr. Lewis can present an investment option.
Okay. Are we rated? Are these bonds rated or not?
They would be rated, yes.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Of course.
I didn't get your name. I
Oh,
apologize.
my apologies. My name's Jason Pinkerton.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. All right, we'll be moving on this later in the agenda, so thank you. And we're last at personnel.
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Walters. I would like to introduce our recommendation for the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Finance. We're going to ask Mr. Cedric Lewis, can you please stand at this time? Mr. Lewis is coming to us from Proviso High School Township as the Chief Financial Officer. Mr. Lewis has a Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of Southern Mississippi and a Master's in Business and Administration from Regis University. Mr. Lewis has over 25 years of experience as the Chief Financial Officer of a school district. So we present to you tonight Mr. Cedric Lewis as the Assistant Superintendent of Business and Finance.
Thank you.
That is all that I have for personnel. Any questions?
Nope.
What about the instructors?
So currently, we have, and we're still hiring. So hiring is an ongoing process, and we still have we're still hiring people as of now. But for our instructors, we were asked to provide information about how many instructors that we have. We have close or over 300 teachers in our district, and 64 of those 300 teachers are instructors. And instructors must either have a bachelor's or master's degree in the subject that they are teaching. So for instance, I know at the high school, we have a doctor that she's teaching biology. We have an accountant that's teaching math. So currently, we are at 64 instructors.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Fountain?
How's the bus program coming along?
So transportation is coming along. We have, I think we've hired close to 45 bus drivers and quite a few monitors because we're in the process of now entering all of those people into our system. So we're constantly hiring. We have, they have their first training and also orientation. So busing is coming along, transportation is coming along.
We're trying to get to 52 or 56 drivers.
Mr. Williams, can you speak into the microphone?
Are we trying to get to 52 or 56? I think it was 56.
Oh, we said 56.
Okay. So we're almost there.
We're almost there.
So I just want to explain that I think people thought that we were actually in charge of transportation directly. When I say people, I mean the community. We actually have always had a vendor. Ever since I could remember as a child, we've always used a vendor. The reason that we decided to take over transportation is so that we could pass on the cost or the revenue that the vendors get to our staff. And so I do think that that has helped a lot in increasing the number of bus drivers that we have, because Illinois Central had around 30 to 35, and we're above that number already. And hopefully we can get the last 10 between now and the beginning of the school year.
And just to add to that, we are still doing ongoing interviews weekly. So we do have people still eligible or are coming in for interviews. So we're continuing to hire for those positions.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. If there aren't any other questions, thank you, Ms. Fountain. All right, we're on to public comments. We have one proposed speaker, and we have a slight change for you, Mr. Snipes. Public comments, we ask you to give your name and direct your comments to the board, because that microphone now is what we're going to use for public comments, so you can address all of the board members instead of just those you might be able to see. So going forward, the president will recognize members of the audience who wish to make comments to the board regarding any topics related to school district business. The board will take all comments under advisement without discussion, which means the board will not respond tonight. If a member of the public raises an issue or concern that requires follow-up, the board president or the superintendent will do so in a timely manner. Please give your name and direct your comments to the board. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. All individuals are to conduct themselves with respect and civility towards others. The only speaker tonight is Mr. Robert Ellington Snipes. So
to the distinguished members of the Board of Education, Dr. Walters. First of all, let me say kudos. A lot of times when we're working in this particular district, we hear more complaints than we do a lot of salutations or thank you for doing what you do to make our district a better and a brighter place. I will say before I come with what I wanted to say, Shamika Fountain, thank you. As the president of the Paraprofessional Union, a lot of times we agree, disagree, and agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, we get things done. And so it might be at the last minute, but it'd be just in time. So I want to thank her because, again, in that HR department, she probably don't hear the word thank you enough. Last meeting, I thanked the board. You do know what you do for all that money that you receive. I kind of know the feeling as a county board member and a county board member in this area for some time since 1990, on and off. I have been in county government and just dealing with the community for over 45 years for the students, starting with the Student Rights for Education, working with Reverend Copeland and many others who had concerns in our community or wherever. And that spears across the board. Most of the board members that had to run or did run because they have a passion to basically, enhance our community. So that's something that's important, because you do know when you look at all those documents and everything else, that it takes a lot of your time, and it takes time from your family and friends and things that you want to do. And so it's important that you know that your role in government is important. Now, I want to just give you a brief synopsis, because when I went, I happened to saw the building 2 times since it's going up. Right behind this, you call it the community/Whitfield House or whatever, but whether it's just a community building, whatever it was back in the day, whatever you all consider it to be, I heard the word community in it. And that's, again, for that to be going up, really at no cost, I believe, to the community. But the benefit that will be derived from it is going to be exceptional. I would like to say, even in Dr. Walters' defense, I've had her as a choir member. I was here in Black History when her and Stacy Lightfoot, but the last name was with a B back then, they was on the stage and they participated. So it was nice to bring a superintendent into the district that was from the district, from grade preschool all the way up. It's also important as you go into your about your way to basically search for another superintendent, that your eyes and ears are open, because you are from our community, so you know what we want. But what I would like to do and propose to you is, because this is Dr. Walker's last year, I think, and I just put it into your spirits as a seed, and hopefully it grows, that building that you are now elevating as it's going up as a community center be named the Dr. Janier A. Walters. I want to say Flower Walters, but there's not enough room, so I'll say Walters up on that particular building. And then I would also ask your due diligence in, let's have a great year. Yes, we're going to have problems. Yes, we're going to have hurdles. But our attitudes and our leadership ability rise above that, and just let's have a ball on her last year going out. And in that ball, because Dr. Walters is student-driven, that she will be able to enjoy some of the work that she has. These kids are working and not on the streets. They're being able to buy versus going out to steal. That means a lot. Incarceration, because I worked in the penitentiary, they put a lot of money there, but they put very little here when it compared to incarceration for our kids. But you see our kids want to work. You see our kids want to do things. They smile. Yes, they are kids. They're going to do what they do with the frowns and all that, but they stepped up to the plate. There's a lot of accomplishments. This year, let's look at a lot of all our accomplishments and then build upon those. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving along, we're to the consent agenda portion of the agenda. And are there any issues or questions regarding any of the items on the consent agenda? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Motion by Gathing,
Second.
second by Johnston. Please call the roll. Is there any other questions? Are there any other questions? Please call the roll.
Archie?
Yes.
Baronis?
Yes.
Gathing?
Yes.
Johnston?
Yes.
Verrett?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Bolin?
Yes. Motion carries. Moving on to action items. The first item is approval of the recommendation of salary increases for special other non-certified employees of the district You have the list that's been provided in the agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Gathings.
Second.
Second by Williams. Any questions, any debate or discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Baronis?
Yes.
Gathing?
Yes.
Johnston?
Yes.
Verret?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Archie? Bolin?
Yes. Motion carries. Moving on to item number 2. I think we received information regarding adding this alternate for the LCC heating units to the remodeling work that's being done at Millie Pregler. Are there any questions? Well, is there a motion on this item?
So moved.
Motion by Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Williams. Are there any questions, discussion, or debate regarding this matter? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Gathing?
Yes.
Johnston?
Yes.
Verret?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Archie? Yes. Baronis?
Yes.
Bolin?
Yes. Motion carries. The third item is something that has just happened in the last couple of weeks. That's the ratification of the emergency asbestos removal at Kennedy pursuant to Illinois Code. Those of you who got emails on this understand that this is a matter that was an emergency for two reasons. One, asbestos was being exposed, and two, we needed to make sure that this building was ready for the beginning of school. We received several proposals, but the final proposal that we received was from,
That's the air.
I'm looking at the name, Hygieneering, Inc.
Let me find it.
That's here. And that's in front of you with that bid amount. It's here, yeah, I've got it. All of you have this. We need a motion to approve this or approve.
So moved. Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Gathing.
Second.
Motion by Gathing, seconded by
Second.
Johnston. Any other questions about this? I'm looking for the actual bid
What
amount.
kind of timeline
It's on the
are we
second and
talking
third
about?
sheet.
It's on the back sheet.
Actually, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know, Mr. Draper is here. It'll be done by early next week, right? Yes.
Okay.
That's good.
It's $24,091. Is that the?
No, 43.
43 is the total
43.5.
for both projects. I'm sorry.
Super Bowl.
43.5.
Super Bowl.
All right, any other questions, any other comments? Any other debate or discussion? Hearing none. Call the roll, please.
Johnston?
Yes.
Verret?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Archie? Baronis?
Yes.
Gathing?
Yes.
Bolin?
Yes. Motion's approved. Moving on to the consideration for the working cash fund bonds we just heard about from Mr. Pinkerton. Is there a motion to approve the consideration and action on the resolution declaring our intention to issue $7 million in working cash fund bonds?
So moved.
Moved by Gathing. Is there a second? Second by Williams.
Yeah, second.
Thank you. Are there any further questions or discussion regarding this item? Any other debate or discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Verret?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Archie? Baronis?
Yes.
Gathing?
Yes.
Johnston?
Yes.
Bolin?
Yes. Motion carries. The remainder of the agenda starts with information, and that deals with FOIA requests, the bill runs, the revenue report, and the budget update. Those are all attached to the agenda. Any questions on any of those? Hearing none. The next board meeting is July 24th. I do need from the board members their choice of the date in November as the supplemental interview date, which I sent out, but I need you to follow up with me on that, remembering that,
I heard from two, but the 16th, people are leaving for the joint annual conference. so-
right, so it'll have to be probably either the Saturday before or the
That's football.
13th, 14th. not for Northwestern. 13, 14, and 15. So if you'll look at your calendars and choose one of the, either 13th, 14th, and 15th, that would be helpful. Any other business by any board member or go to the order to come before the board? Hearing none, we need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by
Second.
Gavin,
Second.
seconded by Williams. All in favor? Motion, or the motion passed, we're adjourned.